The GOAT debate doesn't seem like it'll ever come to an end, between LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant, and many more. People will forever go back and forth on who they think is the greatest player of all time. Following the NBA's 75th season ceremony during All-Star Weekend, the debate came up once again. ESPN ranked the top 10 players from the NBA's 75 team, and of course it didn't go well with many people. Here was a ranking. At number 1, they had Michael Jordan. Number 2, LeBron James. Number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 4, Magic Johnson. 5th, Wilt Chamberlain. 6th, Bill Russell. 7th, Larry Bird. 8th, Tim Duncan. 9th, Oscar Robertson. And 10th, Kobe Bryant. That's right, Kobe Bryant was ranked 10th of all time by ESPN. And many people did not take too well to this. For one, they don't believe that Tim Duncan is better than Kobe Bryant, and they also believe that Bill Russell was ranked too high. While there will always be controversy regarding this subject, I think it's best we leave it to NBA legends to decide who the GOAT is. Welcome back to Triple Double, and in this video, we'll be discussing who NBA legends say they think is the greatest player of all time. Comment down below, who do you think the GOAT is? Now, Michael Jordan said that he can't call himself the GOAT because it wouldn't be fair since he wasn't able to play up against the legends that came before him.
I don't want it in a sense because I think it disrespects Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, all the guys that prior to me, I never had a chance to play against. What everybody's saying I am, I never had the chance to compete against other legends that was prior to me. When I hear it, I cringe a little bit because, it's a little bit embarrassing because no one knows, I never had the chance once again to play against those guys.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar says there's no way to determine who the greatest player of all time is. He claimed that nobody played against Wilt or Bill Russell, so their perspective is limited, which makes sense.
I don't think there's any way that we can determine who the greatest player of all time is. I saw so many of the guys in your piece that you just ran, and none of them saw Wilt Chamberlain play. Someone who averaged 50 points a game, scored 100 points in one game. They have no idea of what he did, how he did it. They didn't see Bill Russell strangle the league for 11 championships. They didn't see any of that. So, their perspective is limited.
Magic Johnson believes that LeBron is the best all-around player of all time when it comes to basketball, but in terms of the best basketball player of all time, it's Michael Jordan due to his winning ability.
First of all, let's not take anything away from LeBron James, because LeBron James is a great basketball player, one of the all-time greatest that's ever played the game. LeBron James, to me, when you think about all-around basketball player, he probably is the best of all time, right? An all-around basketball player. But when you want to say who's the greatest ever, it's still Michael Jordan.
When Kobe Bryant was asked about the GOAT question, he jokingly said that he's the best, Michael Jordan's the second best, and LeBron's the third best. Now, since it is Kobe, he might actually believe this.
Fine. I'm the best, Michael's second best, LeBron's
Shaq always says that the people before him come first, that Wilt Chamberlain was the most dominant player, and Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time, and that Magic Johnson was the greatest point guard, and everyone to come after them is copycats. So shout out to Shaq for respecting the legends that came before him.
Because of Michael Jordan, you've seen a lot of other players, right? Me, every time I hear these discussions, I always shut people up, because what I do, I always give it up to the guys before me, right? Like they say, oh, you this and you that, say no. Wilt was the most dominant. Yeah. Michael Jordan was the greatest player. Magic was the greatest point guard. Charles and Karl Malone, the greatest point guards. Everybody else that come afterwards, they're just copycat.
Wilt Chamberlain doesn't like when people refer to Michael Jordan as the GOAT, in his opinion. He doesn't think that Jordan is better than Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, or even Bill Russell. And considering Wilt was in the beginning era of basketball, he might have a little bias.
Well, it bothers me because we all have our opinions, and I don't think that, commensurate with what he's doing, what he's done, and how the game is going today, that he's better than Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Bill Russell, a number of people.
When Kevin Durant was asked the GOAT question, he says that Jordan is obviously the GOAT, followed by Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, and then Magic Johnson. Interesting, no LeBron.
All time? All time. Mike, obviously. Kobe, 2. Shaq, 3. Hakeem. Magic. Ooh.
Hakeem thinks that LeBron is up there with the greatest players of all time, but the Jordan comparisons aren't fair and that Jordan is a far more superior player, claiming who the GOAT is, but he says that if he had to choose someone that he can count on to win championships, it's Michael Jordan.
According to the position that he plays, you know, when people start comparing him with Jordan, then that's not a fair comparison. Because, Jordan is far more superior player and a very, very tough league and very, very, very creative. Sure. I mean, that's not taking anything away from LeBron James because he's a great player. But it's not a fair comparison because I think Jordan is much far superior player.
Now, Kevin Garnett, on the other hand, takes Michael Jordan without a doubt as the greatest player of all time. And that's no surprise because he did lose to LeBron many times.
You can only choose one: LeBron, Mike, Kobe.
Neither one of them. I'm not gonna put that. I don't do that era. So you know what I'm saying. But if you want to, as the most dog one and gonna take the more serious and he gonna win you championships and do things, it's Michael Jordan.
I took Jordan.
You took Jordan?
I'm never going against Jordan, dog. I've never seen. I thought Michael Jordan was Jesus Christ.
Charles Barkley feels very passionate that Jordan is way better than LeBron. Here's what he had to say.
Any media person that I see in person for the rest of my life who try to tell me LeBron James is good as Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of him right on the spot. The next person who walks up to me and say, LeBron James, who is amazing, as good as Michael Jordan, or competes like Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of you right on the spot.
Julius Erving says that Moses Malone is the most underrated player of all time, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest in terms of centers of all time. But for the greatest player of all time, Dr. J still has Kareem as the GOAT.
Moses is the most underrated because, Kareem is the greatest. I mean, in terms of centers all time, Kareem is the #1 guy. In terms of players all time, Kareem is still the #1 guy. He's the guy you got to start your franchise with.
Ray Allen believes that LeBron is now a top 5 player of all time, but Jordan is still the GOAT because he had everything, offense and defense, but LeBron was just a better passer.
Or can he do something where you would go, now I would look at him as the best player?
No, I think he certainly, just off the cuff, he's certainly the top 5 of all time. But playing against him and MJ, I think for me it's MJ all day long, only because how I played against him, and MJ just had everything, from mid-range to 3-point to post-up game, and he could score and dominate in each position.
And with that being said, that wraps up today's video on who NBA legends think is the greatest player of all time. Comment down below your opinion, and remember to subscribe to Triple Double and drop a like.